Hi, I thought I would make a video about a new scarf that I'm making, and I'm working on it very slowly, and I thought I would show you the pattern and do a complete repeat. It's an 8-row repeat, and all of the even rows are purled, and then the 4 odd rows are what we call the action rows. And I'm using Karen's Simply Soft. It's a light 4-worsted weight yarn. It's 100% acrylic. It's very soft, very very pretty yarn. I don't know if you really see it. It's like a charcoal. It's real pretty. Okay, this is worked up in multiples of 6 plus 1. I actually, what did I go with? 41? Or I think I went with 41. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 41. Okay, yeah, I did go with 41. But what I actually did was I went with 37. So it's 36 plus 1 is what I cast on, and I used a long tail cast on. So I did 36 stitches, which is my multiple of 6, plus 1 is 7, and then I did 2 side stitches on each side, so 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. So that's how I came to that. I'm using a 5.5 millimeter knitting needle. And I would suggest a stitch holder to spread out, make sure that everything is good, and you can hold your stitches. What else? You don't need the side stitches, and you don't need a border of a garter stitch, which is what I did. I began with a setup foundation row of 2 rows of garter all the way across, and then my first row, and this is actually 4 repeats, so that's how large it's gotten with 4 repeats. My first row, foundation row, was knit and knit for my second, and then I began the pattern, and the pattern goes like this. First row is the right side, and I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches. Put this here so that I don't lose my yarn. I'm going to put it in my little basket here. It creates a nice tension for me. So I'm going to knit my first 2 side stitches. I have someone in mind I'm making this for, so I like that. It's like if you can't really see it in the light, I'm going to hold it up to the light so you can see it. Okay, so it almost looks like a paw print, but it's called Buds and Lattice, and it's supposed to be looking like little flowers, and it does look like little flowers, but it also, to me, it looks like a little pet paw print also. So you have a pet lover in your family, or somebody that holds their pet deer as a child, their little baby or whatever. This is good for pet lovers, and it's good for flower lovers too. I have a couple people in mind. It's a cool pattern. So I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches, which I just did, and I'm going to continue to do that for every row. And then my first row goes like this. My setup is to knit 1, and then my repeat begins by yarn over and knit 2 through the back loops. I'm going to go turn and go through my back loop and knit those 2 together, and then I'm going to knit 1, so it's knit through, it's knit 2 together through the back, the repeat is yarn over, knit 2 together through the back loop, knit 1, knit 2 together in the front loop, yarn over, knit 1. That's repeat, row 1. It's a very simple repeat. So yarn over, knit 2 through the back loop, and knit 1, and knit 2 together, yarn over and knit 1. Justin's going after my stitch. Hold on. He sees something fun to play with. You have to move, Justin. He waits. He waits for me to make a video and he wakes up. So that's, see how it's looking here? I'm going to hide this on my pillow so he can't get it. So you're just going to keep doing that in row 1. You're going to yarn over, knit 2 through the back loop, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1. You're just going to do that all the way to the end, and I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches, and then I'll meet you back for row 2. Okay, so I am on row 2 now. I'm going to, that was row 1, and row 2, so I'm just going to turn my work, and my yarn is in the back because I just got done knitting, so I'm going to go ahead and put my yarn in the front. Take it in front. Well, first I'm going to keep it in the back. I'm sorry. I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches. You could purl all the way across and you would still have that border. It would just be a stockinette border instead of a garter border, which works good for a border too. But sometimes I find with stockinette borders they can curl a little, so I went with just, I'm keeping my 2 side stitches to knit, and then I'm going to bring my yarn in the front of me and go right to left in the front and purl. You're just doing the opposite of what you did knitting. You're going through the front, right to left, and grabbing, I just want to double check something, make sure I'm not knitting a split there. Nope, that's all one. Okay. And so you're just gonna purl all the way across, and everybody has their own way of purling, which I always say in my videos, but I'll show you a few. I do continental purling more than English style. Not really a tutorial video, so I just wanted to show the stitches. So when you purl, it kind of like, it really, for lace work, and this is considered a lace work scarf, it really brings all of your stitches gathered together in an area, and depending on how many you purl, it will slant one way or the other depending on how many you knit together or purl together. With yarn overs, it will determine your slant and the movement of the stitch and the pattern, which is really cool. So you can, if you ever wanted to design your own pattern, you know, you could just play with the amount that you knit together or purl together and how many times you yarn over. It really is fun once you get going with lace work. Okay, so I'm going to carry on, but you're just going to purl row 2 I'm going to continue purling row 2 and I'll be right back. Okay, so row 3, we're on 2. I just realized that when I was doing this video, I'm actually turning off each video, so it's going to have to be a bunch of clips that I put together. I'm going to have to splice it together. Just realized that. The first 2, I'm going to correct myself. The first 2 I did, I didn't hit pause, I hit, I'll fix it. Okay, so row 3 is an action row. And it's a right side row, so I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches. My yarn is in the back. Knit. I'm going to knit 2. And then the setup to the row is to knit 1. I'm going to keep my yarn in the back. And then row 3 goes like this. Setup is to knit 1. I did that. I did that. I'm going to yarn over, and this is the beginning of the pattern for row 3. Yarn over, knit 1. Slip 1, knit 2 together, and pass your slip stitch over, and take this needle and take your slip stitch from the front and pass it over the knitted stitch, and then just give it a tug, and this creates kind of a slant and locks your stitch in. So after you do your PSSO or pass slip stitch over, you're going to knit 1, yarn over, and knit 1, and that's the entire repeat. That is it. I'm going to do it again. So this is row 3. Yarn over, knit 1, slip 1, knit 2 together, take this needle and come over here and grab that slip stitch over the knitted stitch, do your PSSO, then knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Do 1 more, yarn over, and knit 1, slip 1, knit 2 together, and pass your slip stitch on over that, drop it off, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. I'm going to have to separate that there because I'm working on a yarn over and I don't want to get caught in between them. So that's how quick this really goes, and it really is a pretty scarf. So this is 3. I'm going to continue doing my pattern until I get to my last 2 stitches, then I'm going to knit them. And then I'm going to go on to row 4, and I'm going to purl that row. So I'll meet you back for row 5. Okay, so I finished row 4, which was purling, but I ended up with an extra stitch because I actually purled a split of my yarn, which I will say this, for Caron Simply Soft, and I have used Caron Simply Soft quite a bit, but I often find that it does split easier because it's so soft, so you got to make sure you're really getting underneath the whole stitch. So I purled a split, so now I'm going to get rid of that extra stitch. I'm going to knit my first 2 stitches, but I'm going to knit my first one, and then I'm going to actually knit my next 2 stitches together to decrease that. That's all you got to do. Just don't do it on the end. If you have an extra stitch, don't do it on the end over here because it'll make the border look uneven. But if you come into your work a little bit more and do it the next stitch over, or even just within your pattern, if you find one little spot where you have to knit 1, knit 2 together, it'll come back out Okay. Some scarves that are lace are gonna have a shape going on with them, but this is a straight border one. So that was row 4. This is row 5. It's an action row, and the setup is to knit 1. After you knit your side stitches, if you have them, you don't need them. I like them. Your pattern repeat, it goes like this. Knit 2 together, and I'm going to be cautious that I'm not knitting my splits, so I might go slow. So knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and knit 1. Okay, that might have seemed like it was ridiculously easy, right? It is. Okay, so row 5 is easy. It's knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. It's knit 2 together, and it's yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. It's so easy, you can forget what you're doing. Trust me. Okay, so row 5, that's row 5. I'll do it one more time. It's knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Hey, since it's so easy, I'll just finish it here. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Okay, you can see that it's doing that. It's the yarn overs really help to bring the shape in. I don't know if you can see it in this light. Bad lighting. But I'm going to go finish, get to the end, and then just knit my last 2, and then purl row 6, and I'll come back for row 7. Okay, so I'm back for my final row, which is my final action row, which is 7, and I'm going to knit my, oh, I did it again, a slip. I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches together, but I'm going to knit 2 together because I have an extra yarn over in there. Okay, so the last 4 rows I've really been working on evening up because I've had that extra stitch in there. And I'm going to try to be more careful not to knit my splits and end up with an extra stitch. Alright, so row 7 is, the setup to it is to knit 2 together. Knit 2 together. And then the repeat is easy, and it goes like this. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit. It's knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over twice. So yarn over. So I hope that made sense. I know it made sense. It's when you see in the parentheses, when you see the pattern in parentheses and it says knit 1, yarn over, and then it says times 2, then you're going to knit 1, yarn over 2 times. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. So here's my yarn over. Okay, now we're going to knit 1. Go on with the pattern. Knit 1, slip 1, and knit 2 together. And now you're going to do what we did before, pass your slip stitch over. Lock that in. And you're going to end at that PSSO and of that ends the repeat, and you go back to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, slip 1, knit 2 together, and then pass your slip stitch over, get to the tug, and again go back to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, slip 1, knit 2 together, again knit 2 together, pass your slip stitch over. And you're just going to do that to the very end, and when you get to the last 5 stitches, the very last 5 stitches, you're going to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and then you're going to knit through the back loop. You're going to knit 2 together at the end. So I'm going to stop at 7 stitches, so you're going to stop at 5 if you don't have any side stitches. So I'm going to stop at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to knit 1, yarn over twice, knit 1, and then knit through the back loop 2 together. So I'm just going to go on with my knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and get to the end. And then you're going to purl the last row, which is 8. And I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just thought I'd come back and show you what I mean at the end, what you're going to do. So you're going to stop at 5 stitches. I'm stopping at 7 because I have 2 side stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So how you're going to end this is you're going to knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, and then knit 2 together through the back loop. And then I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches. And that is row 7. And again, I'm gonna turn and show you how to purl. You're gonna purl all the way across. I'm gonna count, see how many stitches I have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 41. So I'm good. I have the right amount of stitches now. It will correct itself if you have a yarn over or whatever. Try to inconspicuously knit 2 together or purl 2 together. If you have less amount of stitches, you would knit into the front and the back loop, or purl into the front and the back loop to add a stitch. Or you would yarn over. I don't really like that way to add a stitch because it makes more of a space, and when you're doing open space work it would show more. So I always say knit into the front and the back loop if you're trying to add a stitch, and it just works better. Okay, so row 8, I'm going to knit my 2 side stitches like I've been doing. And you can see that with knitting, you've got the yarn in the back, and then with purling, you bring your yarn in the front. I did want to show that there's different ways to knit and different ways to purl, just quickly in this video I want to show. For purling, you can have your yarn in the front, and the English way of doing this would be, get my finger there, would be to hold 2 separate needles like this and go from the right to the left in the front like this. Cross your needles over and bring your yarn over like this, and then you're gonna kind of come off the needle and pull that through like that. I find that uncomfortable to do that. I'll show that to you again. English style, you're going to go in like this, cross over like this, and pull your yarn off like this. So I do continental style, which is grab the yarn in the front and you use your finger to direct and guide it. You're actually using your thumb and your pointer finger, and you're going right to left into the front of the stitch, and you're going around that and then pushing your yarn down as you go. So that is the purling, and I'm going to get all the way across so that I can show you at the end how it looks. Not going to look much different than what it looks like below this row, but I want to get through a complete repeat of rows. So this is just an easier way for me to, sometimes I switch between continental and English style, just depends on how my hand is feeling. Shoulders, elbows, neck, my eyes. It all matters. It all gets in there when you're doing repetitive work. Alright, so it's looking really pretty, I think. It's looking really pretty over a white or a mauve shirt. Nice heather gray lacy scarf. I had made a gray scarf with the same kind of gray hat with the same kind of material for my daughter. It was like a beach hat that she could wear in the house. She's got really long, thick hair, really curly, and she straightens it. And then she leaves it curly, and she puts it up, and she could get away with having hat days where, you know, you just want to put your hair up if you're working in the kitchen, you just don't feel like wearing a scarf, throw a big hat on, put all your hair inside of your hat. In between weather, you know, hats are really fashionable no matter what. I say if you're cold, put a hat on at night. When I cut my hair really, really short, I was wearing a nightcap every night to bed. And I was styling, you know, so that's fine. In the summertime, I wear, whoops, I don't want to do that. Sorry about that. I want to knit the last two. I wear a little hat that I made all summer, and I wear it all fall. I find when your head is warm, you're good. When your feet are good, you're good. And okay, so that is it's a little funky on that end. I'm sorry what I did with mine. Yeah, you don't want to. Let me grab that. Just put it up there because I have a feeling that's why it's doing that. If your yarn splits, it creates a this is kind of low down to be, but I don't like that hanging there. If your yarn splits on you, it can look a little. I'm going to put this one back up there and that'll reinforce it. So my edging looks a little funky on that side. I'm not crazy about, but I might rip out and just reinforce it. But it might fix itself when I'm blocking it on that side. But I think it's gonna look really, put it up against the skin. I think it's gonna look nice. Yeah, over a shoulder. One of my friends out on Facebook was saying this would make a really nice shawl, and it would. I see the stitch. Oh, God, I've been chasing that stitch. There it is, right there. That's better. It'll be fine now. So, I mean, you know, if the yarn gets splitty in a spot, you can reinforce it at the end by taking an embroidery needle and just stitching along the side to like a mattress stitch, or even a little just a little whip stitch around the side would look fine. So I think it's coming out good, and it's a like I said, it's a really simple 8-row repeat. You're gonna purl all of your even rows and then do your action rows, and it's 6 plus 1, a multiple of 6 plus 1. If you wanted to make this into a shawl, you could work this up and around with round needles and make it like a semicircle shawl, or you could just work it on straight needles, but I would probably use cable and circular just so that, and work it flatly just so you have enough room on your to hold all your stitches, and make sure you have a stitch holder, and it'll be fine. And I think it looks better in a solid color than it works up in a variated, even if it's a long striping variated. It still works up better in a solid color to actually see the pattern. And I still think it looks like little paws, which I think are cool. So I made a hat for my daughter in this very same yarn, and I think this would go really cool with it all season. So I might make this for her. Might make it for me. I don't know yet. I might make it for somebody for Christmas. I haven't decided yet. That's the pattern. I'm gonna go get those other 2 clips in, and it should be right around 30 minutes. Sorry it took so long, but I'm not a fast knitter. Okay, I hope you like this one. And I got this from Purl Avenue, and it's called Buds and Lattice. But I'm gonna call it Paws. And if you go to Purl Avenue, you just wouldn't want to sell this and get her permission to make a video or whatever. I don't want to write it down anywhere because of the copyright, but you can work it up, do a tutorial, whatever, as long as you use your credit. So I'm crediting Purl Avenue, and it is her own original design called Buds and Lattice. Although I do have to say I have seen a Buds and Lattice in knitting books before that is pretty much similar. I think there's like one extra add-on yarn over that is done here. So that said, I want to credit everybody where credit is due, and I think she has a really beautiful website. So go on over to Purl Avenue and just don't sell the pattern or anything like that, or you will get sued, I guess. I don't know. Gotta ask permission. Okay. I am done knitting for the day. That's where I'm at. See, now maybe when you hold it, I have to like hold it up to the light so you can see the pattern. There's the pattern. Okay, so thank you to Purl Avenue. I really love this pattern. And to me, maybe I'm misreading the pattern wrong. Maybe I changed it a little bit. It doesn't look like flower buds to me. It looks like paw prints. And so I love it. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.